Do as I say, not as I do. Read the pattern through. I'm probably saying that as much to myself as I am to you, because I don't always. And every time I forget, it bites me in the ass. It bites me in the butt. The thing I wasn't sure was going to work when I did this was this seam is huge. It's huge. I went in 3 stitches, I think, which made this smaller. I love the way this looks now. I'm so happy with that. I know I'm a dork, but I don't care. Look at that. But yeah, this seam is really, really big, and I wasn't sure. Can I get that sort of? I wasn't sure if that was going to add too much bulk, but it really doesn't seem to. It's not. It doesn't bother me at all, anyway. So I'm very excited, in a little bit. But I think that's gonna. I don't know why I thought it was going to be so much fatter than it turned out to be. I don't know why I thought that. I think weird things sometimes. I think I can actually live with this. It's not quite as in as this one, but it actually curves a little more. I can definitely, yeah, that's gonna work. Yeah. And here's the back, just for difference. I wanted to show you just how big this seam is. I mean, look at that. It's 1, 2, 3, it's 4 stitches. That's a very big seam. Although in fairness, I realize as I'm picking up and I'm seeing where my decrease line is, that I didn't pick up in the same spot as I did on the last one. Because you can see maybe right here where I went in when I went out one. I was going here and then I switched over, and so when I get to my decreases, they're one in. We'll see. Editing me here. I thought I had footage of explaining this, but I can't find it. So we're gonna quickly film some in a very weird lighting. The reason that I offset on the first sleeve was because when you are going over your sleeve, at that seam, the stitches are going in one direction and then they're going in a different direction, which means they're offset by half a stitch. Now you can obviously pick up into a different part of like half a stitch over, and thereby you're picking up into the same line, or you can pick up half a stitch off as you transition, and then you're getting the same amount of you're losing the same amount of fabric. The seam will have the same amount of fabric on both sides. It's a decision you make. Sometimes you want to do one thing, sometimes you want to do another. There's no right or wrong way, that I don't think. It's just however you want the fabric to behave and however you want the line to be, that kind of stuff. So on the first sleeve, which I think was the right sleeve, I don't even know anymore. I'll have to go back through the footage and find out. On the first sleeve, I decided to have the same seam allowance all the way around. On the second sleeve, I decided to go into the same stitch, so I actually offset as I went around. I offset so that the seam is half a stitch bigger on one side than the other. I don't remember which side it is, but it's half a stitch bigger on one of the sides. It's got to be the back. It's got to be the back, because if it's the left, I'd be picking up that way. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm just babbling at this point. But that's why the seam is offset by half a stitch. It wasn't an accident. That was on purpose. Everything else was an accident, though. As I sit here looking at this, I want to make entirely clear that I am well aware that I may have started a trend where none of my garments have the same sleeves on both sides of my body. I would not be entirely surprised if that becomes a thing that starts being true. I love libraries because you can wander around the aisles and go into the art section and find books that you probably never would have thought to look for, but help you out in massive ways. So, in my sort of color journey quest, this has been hugely helpful. Oh, it's called Color Mixing by Kimberly Adams. And it's got, painterly stuff, so some of that isn't going to apply. But stuff like this, I'm familiar with the color wheels, right? But some of them were totally new to me, like split complementary is a, look at that. Look at the contrast that it creates because of the way the color works. I'm so in love with that sort of look. And so I am definitely going to be using the split complementary. And this is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't appeal to me like, say, the other one did, or the tetrad. So it looks like I like a little bit of lower contrast, because the rectangle and the square of the two, just off the bat, this one screams to me. So learning about stuff like that, and then looking, there's sort of, I can sort of look through and see what catches my eye, and then see what tricks the painter is using to get that effect, which I can totally apply to knitting. So, I don't know. I'm really happy I found this. Also, some of it's just really cool. Look at that. I don't know why this is so addicting, but it is. This was like one session. I'm not even kidding. Like, you just get started and then you can't seem to stop. I probably should have gone to bed earlier than I did, but I didn't. So, cast on for the Turntable Pullover by Albiona McLaughlin. And I made a decision that caused a cascade effect because I didn't read far enough through into the pattern to realize what was going to come next. And that put me in an awkward spot. Now, I could have ripped back, and sometimes I do rip back, and I don't mind ripping back, but in this case, I decided to go forward. And I've decided, ooh, is this a good idea? I don't know. Because the danger of this decision is that because this is not, because this is a turtleneck, if I get this decision wrong, which I might, I have two options. Option A, rip out the whole sweater. Option B, I'm about to do a lateral braid, cut the yarn above the lateral braid, bind off at the lateral braid somehow. No, I wouldn't have to bind off. I could just, because it's a switching a rib situation, it doesn't matter if it's a little offset. So I would have to do that. Both of which are not good. So it's dangerous and scary. Am I doing it anyway? I totally am. Why? Because I feel like it's going to be okay. And sometimes that feeling is right, and sometimes that feeling is wrong. But usually when I go with my gut, it's okay. It's usually when I ignore my gut and say, oh, it'll be fine anyway, that's when things get hairy. So here's to hoping. We'll find out really soon. And how it will look in real life. Got my head's cut off. I wonder. Let's find out. I still am gonna wish that it were just that little bit skinnier there. It only annoys me because I just finished it. Once, I've been wearing it out, I won't care anymore. happy with it. There's a lot of extra in the back because of where the seams are, which I don't... It's funny, I don't remember the other one being like this. So I don't know if I did something weird or if this one is... You know what? This one is just sitting differently because of how thick the collar is. That's a thing. So I could, I don't know, fidget with it more. We'll see in real life how that goes. Graphic tee, Moriarty vest number 2.